Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Analytics and the Power of Data, our next in the series for Envision in 2021. I finally get to present this time. So this conversation is going to be all kinds of geek about all kinds of data. All right, here's my objective. Can we get through this presentation and can I get the following points across? I want to show you the value of data. And I want to show you tools that you can use to get the most out of the data in your organization. Guys, look, since the beginning of time, there's one thing that's consistent. Every time that we write a dang report, somebody says, I want to know more. All right, when I started in the contact center in 2002, that's exactly it. I would roll out these new call centers for a BPO, and as soon as we'd roll them out, people would say, hey, I need some reports. So I'd show them the list of canned reports, and then very soon thereafter, I'd get a whole series of questions. What does this mean? What does that mean? Can you tell me more? Tell me more. And I'd have to add in more logging and add in more reports. So I thought I'd get ahead of the game. I thought I would go ahead and log more data points than they asked for, anticipating the next question, and so on and so forth. Well, that's where we're at today. We're in that predictive phase today, where essentially nobody says big data anymore, right? That buzzword's long gone because everything we have right now has been flattened, all right? It's been put in and tagged so that you can look at it from every which possible angle. And that is really what I mean when I say data and analytics today. So to give you the quick answers, guys, I'm going to be talking to you about natural language analytics, sentiment analytics, and workforce engagement management. Those are the three topics that I'm going to talk about today. So if you already know what all those are and you already know the values of those, I'm probably going to watch the attendance counter go down. For those of you that you don't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of those components, the rewards that you're going to get, and hopefully out of all this, you can leave here asking us a ton more questions because I didn't have more than 20 minutes to go over this. So with that, let's get into it. Natural language analytics. All right, first of all, I'm guessing nobody's ever heard that term before because I kind of made it up in the middle of the night here this week. What it really is, it's my way of combining text analytics and voice analytics. So let's dive a little bit deeper. What I mean by voice analytics is we're actually going to take the contents of a call, all the words from both the caller and the agent, and we're going to transcribe them into words and then convert it into text analytics. And what do I mean by text analytics? I mean, we're taking every single word from every different type of interaction, SMS, chat, social media, the transcribed calls, and we are going to go ahead and we're going to flatten that data out and we're going to start looking at trends and topics, and we're going to look at words, phrases, and even more so the combination of phrases to get to intent. That's really where we're at today. Not just words, not just phrases, but really truly understanding intent. Okay, so what are you going to get out of natural language analytics? You are going to be able to analyze every single interaction that goes into your contact center. Why is that important? Let's take a little step back. For those of you that don't have text or speech analytics today, what are you doing? You're for your QA program. You're probably going to have somebody going in and running what 5, 6, 7, if you're lucky, interactions per agent per month and scoring them. Now you might have a set of rules. You might say, I want the longest interaction. I want the shortest interaction over 1 minute. I want the average interaction. I want this type or that type or whatever it might be. And you're going to try to get a little educated around picking which interactions you monitor, but you're still monitoring. You're filling out a scorecard, and you're going ahead and you're scoring your agent based off of that and that alone. Now let's fast forward a little bit with natural language analytics. I can monitor 100% of those interactions. And I can apply all the rules that your QA team does. And I could say, you know what, QA team, this is the overall score for the rep so far, but I think you should be looking at these interactions because they're out of the norm. They're the exception to the rule. These are ones that might help me with your training. All right. So let me use an example that came up with one of our clients once. A few years ago, they were telling me this. They had a rep. It was a distributor of electronics parts. And they had a rep that was the best average handle time, the best CSAT scores, and pretty much every KPI metric they had was deemed as the best. And that rep actually was winning all kinds of awards in as a result, getting their parking space, going on trips, whatever it might be. And they got monitored the least amount of time. This company wanted to spend their time monitoring those that actually needed the attention, not those that had and met every single metric out there. So once a month, somebody would monitor them. They would do their due diligence, check the boxes, and move along. Fast forward a little bit, somebody actually started saying, I need a repository of great call examples. So they start listening to this rep. And every single time she listened to the rep was giving away product from this company. Oh, you're not happy with it? Okay, let me just take this return. Oh, whatever it might be. So in the end, what they found out, you know why the CSAT scores were so high? Because the customer actually was getting free stuff just by calling in, basically. You know why the handle time was so high? Well, he was trying to finish up as quickly as he could. Natural language would have been able, or excuse me, voice analytics would have been able to uncover that. All right, let's take it a step further. Another company very similar, they have a rep that's having really great handle times. And this time it's not malicious. They just were that dang good at what they did. However, in processing a very specific type of a return, they took forever. Again, we can start looking at trends and identifying even our best rep, there's something that they could improve upon. There's some training materials that we can build for that rep. We can look at trends and start doing some better quality assurance. Not only that, but analytics is going to allow you to focus your time in on what's most important. We had a manufacturing company that had that has water running through their machines, and if I go back and where analytics would really have helped them out, just a few months ago, when we had that deep freeze down south, their reps all of a sudden started getting a huge influx of calls, and these calls were simple. My pipes burst. Do you guys cover this under your warranty? It's an act of God. Do you cover it? I want my machine replaced, so on and so forth. If we would have simply had natural language understanding in front of these guys, it would have been a whole different story. So let's see what happened here. All right. First, my pipes burst and everybody's taking all these calls. The reps are just going crazy. All of a sudden, the next day, the manager's looking at the stats saying, huh, our call volumes are through the roof. And then the next day, the call volumes are through the roof. And then all of a sudden, people are saying, how do I handle these calls? You know, here are all these tickets. I don't know what to do next. And the manager's like, oh man. And then they get their management team in. And then everybody's got to come up with a plan, get back to the reps. And the reps have to get back to all these people over the course of the 2 weeks that were having a pipe problem, right? And in the end, if we used voice and text analytics, we could have seen a bubble up of pipe bursting and warranty and return and act of God. All these words bubble up to the top, and somebody could have said, "Why is that happening? That's odd. Let's get to the bottom of this now." And we could have prevented all kinds of return calls, handled the first call resolution. That's what analytics can give you. It can give you the data to arm your reps so that they can do first call resolution. Last is compliance. So on the compliance side of things, how many of you require that your reps say a certain thing on every single call? You know, for quality purposes, please tell me your last 4 years social. Or for PCI purposes, I need to say this or say that. Or for HIPAA, I need to do this or do that. If you have your analytics program transcribing everything, we can now highlight the situations where maybe a rep isn't doing that. Maybe it's okay that they're not doing that, but we don't know that, right? So let's start highlighting this. So again, we can get back to the training. These are just a few of the use cases that happen with analytics. So when I get into it, what are some of the perks? What are some of the results that we have seen time in and time out? Any one of these stats that you see in front of you are probably going to pay for the product, especially nowadays when analytics is built into a solution and it's simply a checkbox to enable it. It's not a checkbox to get the most out of the product by any means. That's a whole change management process. That's for a different day. But if I come back around, If you could have any one of these stats apply to your contact center, is this something you want to look into? That's my challenge back to you. My guess is you're going to say yes. I don't care what vertical you're in. All right, 15% improved customer experience. That alone, what I simply mean on that is that their journey is reduced. The first call resolution could be increased. A level of effort from a customer goes down. That's what we really mean by that. The rest of these, I think, are metrics that are self-explanatory. So let's dive into the next one. Sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis, what is it? This is where we're recognizing the demeanor of both the caller and the demeanor of the agent. For instance, I'm going to call in. I'm going to use that pipe bursting example. I'm going to call in. I'm angry. My pipe burst. Actually, I'm going to call in. I'm curious. My pipe burst. And then when you tell me, no, I'm sorry, but it's not our fault. You put this in your garage instead of in your house. Then I'm angry. And how that rep handles it, are they showing compassion or not? That's what sentiment analysis really is it's looking at both sides of the call and in understanding where is the pain and where is the compassion. And with that, we can use this information for training. All right, if I can see that my rep isn't necessarily handling an angry call, I can use that for training. But also, I can tie the sentiment analysis with that voice transcription or that text analysis, and I could start looking at things like, oh, wait a second, my product is yielding a lot of very angry customers. What's going on here? Hey, QA team, what's going on with you, right? I can use that sentiment analysis to drive greater sales. If I see that I have a really happy customer that bought a dog toothbrush, well, maybe I can use this as an opportunity to start doing some targeted advertising or some upselling and cross-selling on a call and start saying, you know what, this person's likely going to want a dog-faced plumbing kit, or excuse me, a plunger, or a dog-faced comb, or whatever it might be. I could start looking at patterns, tie it all together, and drive more sales. All right. With sentiment analysis, I can recognize an upset customer and I can try to save them, and I can improve your customer leakage rates. The list goes on and on and on. There are a lot of stats out there. It depends on the use case, but you are going to get your reward if you really dive into that sentiment analysis. And here's the thing, you can react. You can now have the data to know who you should be spending your time on in the B2B or in the B2C world. That's what sentiment analysis is going to do for you. Now, the next one, workforce engagement management. You all probably have heard of components of it. WEM is kind of a new acronym in the contact center world. I would say a couple years new, but really it includes three different components: performance management, workforce management, and quality management, all tied together, and it's called WEM now. If your manufacturer is only talking about one of those components, they probably haven't modernized their product, and it's something to start digging into, to be honest. Let's start with performance management. What do I mean by that? I mean that you are providing the reps and the managers and the supervisors the data they need to know how they are doing within the organization. How are they doing to their KPIs? You're going to get your metrics. You're going to be able to provide some recognition and rewards based off of that performance. So let's look at gamification. Okay, a lot of you that have been on my sessions and my talks in the past know that I'm going to bring up gamification, and I'm going to get all geeky about it because I do see a lot of reward. What does gamification do? It causes competition. It takes advantage of the human nature in your rep to want to not be average, below average, or the worst. All right. It compares you to everybody else based off of your KPIs. Is handle time your KPI? It's going to give you a dashboard that shows your average handle time and how you are compared to everybody else. And in fact, the right gamification product is actually going to show you a leaderboard. This is the best one for AHT this week. Kudos to you. All right, that drives competition. That drives, when that data is in front of you every day, it drives a rep to be better. Nobody wants to be below average. Nobody wants to be the worst. Performance management also works on evaluations. It suggests improvements. It routes training materials. It tells you, hey, this is what I need to work on the training side of things. And it puts it right in front of that rep. In fact, as we dive a little bit into workforce management here, I would say WEM as a whole will route you your training materials if you have a little bit of idle time, or it will schedule you some time to work on those training materials if that's what's needed. So it ties into time management, flexibility, and scheduling. WEM actually helps with the voice of the employee as well. It provides surveys to your employees, and it allows you to react based off of what you're getting in those surveys. WEM allows you to have assistance, task management, distribution, onboarding, and routing of tasks. So think of it like this. Everybody in the contact center, I can't think of a single one of our clients that don't have an attrition problem, where you have to replace what 10-15% of your agents every year. That's new hiring. Those are tasks that rinse and repeat. If I could start queuing them through your contact center solution using WEM, think of how efficient that would be. Here's your training guide. Okay, now once you pass this test, I'm going to automatically enable you into this queue and this skill, so on and so forth. Onboarding and automation of that onboarding is part of a good WEM product. So again, just to summarize, when we talk about WEM, we're really talking about combining and having the three products work together: quality management, workforce management, and performance management. Having them intertwine and work together so that you are as efficient as possible. If you do that, look at this. This is what you're going to get. Now, these are stats from Gallup. One quick caveat. These stats are all pre-COVID. So when you look at that 41% decrease in absenteeism, I haven't seen any stat out there, but I've been hearing a consistent response from our call center customers saying basically that absenteeism has gone down since work from home has been instituted. So I don't know necessarily that you'll get 41% decrease, but you're going to get a decrease in absenteeism when you have a good WEM program. That increase in productivity, simply put, guys, you are going to be able to route more work to your agents. A good WEM platform will handle the following use case. I recently had a client that said they implemented all kinds of things that essentially caused a 75+% increase in efficiency with the reps. Handle times, ASAs, dropped dramatically. All right, to the point where he told me that they had a rep that fell asleep waiting for the next call. Now, if you had a good WEM program in place, and this is next on their docket, let's start routing tasks. Let's start routing non-call center, non-communication related work. Let's route tickets through your solution. Let's route, in this case, it was healthcare, so let's route prescription refills or referral calls or outbound communications, proactive communications. Let's get those in the hands of the reps and keep them as utilized as possible. That's what I mean by increase in productivity. And when you do that, just that example alone, you're actually going to increase your sales and increase your profitability. All right, that's what you're really getting when you implement a good, solid WEM platform. All right. Also, when you are giving your employees recognition, you're decreasing your employee turnover simply by increasing your employee engagement, which Julie talked about last week. So I'm not going to dive too far into that this week. All that said, I hit on my three topics. Hopefully you guys got the following out of today's conversation. You've got that text and speech analytics are key to your organization. Sentiment analytics can get you a great reward, and workforce engagement management will get you your rewards. And those rewards come down to increase of revenue, increase of profits, and improved CSAT. These also come down to decrease in customer and agent churn. Essentially, guys, happy agents equal happy customers and vice versa. When you apply these concepts, use your data, you are going to get some happy customers, you are going to get happy agents, and you're going to get your return. So I had 20 minutes. I believe that I have roughly 45 seconds left here. So I'm going to open everything up for Q&A, and I will hang out as long as you want. If we did our job, I'm hoping that, yes, there's some Q&A, but also you're going to be just blowing up our inbox with what to do next. And if so, we'll create another series on how to implement these three things. Let me know how this went. Your feedback is welcome. These are critical in order for us to have a great Envision event next year. So thanks again, everybody, for joining. I look forward to seeing you next week.